Hey guys, how are you? I hope you are good and doing well. So welcome back to the Senior Ruby on Rails Developer Q&A series. Okay, so in this lecture, we're gonna discuss another different question, which is scenario based. So which is about replacing multiple device model to a single device using role based authentication. Okay, and this is the main question that I asked one of the candidate that I have a Rails application with three models employee admin manager. Okay, and for each of these I have used separate device setups. Additionally, these three models have associations with other existing models. Now I want to replace the three separate device setups with a single device resource. How can I achieve this? Okay, so this is expected to answer if you have experience about 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and so on. Okay, even if you didn't get chance to work on that, but device is a very popular gem, and if you are a Rails developer, senior Rails developer, and you worked on various application, then it 100% chance that you must face at least in one of your application to implement the device for user authentication. Okay, and if you deeply work with the device, you know how to create device resource, how to manage session, how to manage authorization, and how sorry authentication. Okay, so let's say I have an application and I do not know much about the role based authorization. So what I did, that I created a Rails application and I added three different device resources like employee, admin, and manager. But later on, I am realizing some issue in the application, that why should have these three separate device setups, because almost all the functionalities are same. Okay, so how can I do that? How can I turn it into a single device resource rather than using multiple device resources? Okay, so you must answer that. And I asked this question to one of the candidate, and he failed to answer that. However, he tell few steps clearly, like we can use role based authentication, but he failed to show the exact transformation that we need to convert multiple device setups into single device setup. Okay, so first of all, whenever we talking about converting multiple device setups into a single device resource, is definite that we must use roles. Okay, or our authentication must be role based. Okay, so here you can see that we have used employee, admin, and manager. These are three different device resources. But now we want to turn it into a single device resource. So first, let's say we can consider a user model or a user device resource. Okay, and then if there are multiple resources previously, what we can do now, we can add a role column to the user. Okay, or a role attribute to the user, and then we need to decide roles like whether it can be admin, whether it can be employee, whether it can be manager. Okay, and then you need to, after setting up the user device, what you need to do, that you need to migrate existing device resources into the user, I mean their records into the user record. So you can achieve this through some reg task, or you can achieve this through some background jobs. Okay, but I think reg task will be fine here, because background jobs or active jobs we used to execute in the background. Okay, but usually create background jobs if we needed it more than one time. Okay, but reg task is fine here because we just need to do this setup, this migration once only. Okay, so here you can see you can create your reg task like that. So here what you can do, first convert all employees into the user model, then convert all admin into the user model, and then manager. However, order can be different. You might want to convert manager first, admin first, or employee first, and so anything. Okay, so this is something that you need to do. Okay, and clearly mention the role attribute. Okay, and then you need to run your task. Okay, so you can run your task like rake migrate, migrate to users, or bundle exec, rake migrate, or rails migrate. Okay, however, it is also depending upon your rails version as well. If your rails version is rails higher than 5, you need to use rails migrate, migrate users. Otherwise you can use rake migrate, migrate users. Okay, after converting all existing admin, employee, and manager records into the single user model, what you need to do, wherever you have used the association with those previously existing model, you need to update the association definitions. Okay, for example, let's say you have a project model which is belongs to employee. So project belongs to employee, but now we do not have the employee model. We are turning our device implementation in the single user model. So what we need to do, belongs to user. Okay. However, this can be role based, like if user belong sorry if employee belongs to some model, so what you can do, belongs to user if employee user dot role is employee, belongs to admin if user belongs to user if user dot role is admin. Okay, so you can make conditional association there. Okay, and then you need to update your device configuration. Device configuration basically we use in the routes. So for example, we use device for managers, device for admins, device for employees. So what you need to do now, you just need to use device for users. Okay, and if you have some custom controllers implemented for device, you can go with this approach, like device for users and then controller, session, registration, passwords, unlocks, omniauth, and so on. Okay, and then you need to use role based authorization. Since we already added the role attribute in the user table, now what we need to do, we can either use ken gem or pandit gem to authorize users based upon their role, and we can allow them to perform some actions. Okay, and alternatively, if you don't need the role based actions, I mean, you don't need the Kenken or Pandit Gem to perform the role-based action. What you can do, you can also implement a single method, is a simple method in your user model for each possible role, like admin, manager, employee. Okay, and what is the best advantage of this approach? Like even if you need further roles in future, like let's say you need supervisor role, you need crew role, you need crew member role. Okay, so you don't have to create different device setups for those further models, for those further roles. What you can do, you can simply add a method here, and then you can simply authenticate your user itself with their role, and you can provide access based upon their role. Okay, and then you need to update the controller. Okay, like why the controller? First of all, for example, let's say you might be using before action authenticate admin, authenticate employee, authenticate manager to get authenticate previous resources like admin, employee, and manager. Now what you need to do, you need to do authenticate user. Okay, and you can also manage conditions like that as well. Okay, so these are very basic setups that you have to do. However, depending upon the complexity of your application or depending upon your use cases, you might have to do some more work. Okay, but this is what I am telling you is a very basic approach and the must required approach that you need to follow. Okay, and after updating models, controllers, associations, and forms and all, what you need to do, you need to test your application. Okay, whether this is working fine or not, whether all association are updated or not, or login and role based access is control is implemented or not. Okay, and once you tested your application completely, everything is working fine, what you can do is that you can destroy models like employee, admin, manager. And this is only when you are using the device and employee and models only, but you are not using their respective device controllers and views. But if you have implemented device controllers and views separately for employee, admin, manager model, what you need to do, you need to destroy the device resource for those respective models. Okay, so once you once you completed this phase, I mean tested your application and everything is working fine, then you can remove your old models. Okay, and this is a very best approach to convert multiple device setup implementation into a single device resource. Okay, why? Because as I told previously, that it allows you to be flexible as much as if there are further roles need to be added in your application. So you don't have to create different device setups, you can simply use one device model and add a role to there, or you can use ken or pandit gem to uh, support the role based authorization. Okay, but if you don't want to use gem, you can simply add role, and you can manually write conditions to provide the role based authentic access to the users. Okay, so this is again another scenario based question. Okay, and you must answer like that, or you must answer exactly what should be happen. It is fine if you miss a few of the stages or few of the steps, or you make few things previous and then later. For example, here you can see that these are the steps that I would like to follow. Okay, but for example, let's say you created a model and you added a role column to the users table. Okay, then rather than running this task first, what you are doing, that you are implementing the association first, and you are updating the device configuration first, and then you are coming to this reg task, or instead of reg task you are using it through some background job. So that is fine. Steps depend upon your preference, but the steps must be any of these or all of these. Okay, however there could be many. Okay, so you can add, or you can let me know through the comment section that what I missed here, or what could be better approach to for that problem. Okay, so I hope you like that. So just go through this question. This is the main part. Okay, like I have a Rails application with three models and so on, and just go through this question. I will share the link of this wiki into this lecture as well. Okay, and then we will meet into another lecture with another scenario based question. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.